So this is one of the trusses already built. Took me, I don't know, a few hours, 2.5 hours maybe to build this one. Including trying to figure out where all the pieces were. And there's a zillion pieces to this kit, I swear. Yeah, it's a puzzle. So I have to make 3 of these trusses. So one there, and there's 4 more pieces here for the other 2. So best way I found to put these together this is the piece that goes on the top. So this is upside down now. Lay that on the ground. This is the piece that'll be horizontal inside the building. Just put 1 bolt in here. Put the nut on the inside so it kind of holds it. And then it's pretty easy to wrangle these guys in. Right? You can get to those pretty easy. Get to that one pretty easy. Right? Now you have a triangle that you can work with. And then you can stand the triangle up like that there and get these bolts in. 2 of these are fairly easy to get. These guys here, quite a big pain in the ass. So what I've done with a piece of duct tape on this wrench. That. My wrench actually wasn't long enough, so I taped another wrench to it, and to get the nut in there, just kind of get it all lined up there, and then take a nut driver. Giant pain in the ass. It can take 2 or 3 minutes just to get 1 bolt in. So, and then once you have that done, then you got to put all these cross braces in. This one is quite a pain in the ass because you can't reach inside here. So, you got to do the old wrench with duct tape on it trick, like that. Pain in the ass. And as you can see, there's more. Right, there's these guys here. Not quite as bad because the angle's a little bit. These guys are pretty easy. These guys are pretty easy. Yeah, there's just a lot of little bolts and a lot of them. So I would expect to take 2 hours to put each truss together. So I've been kind of setting them up as a production line, so I don't have to try and figure out which piece goes where. I did one first, but then I went, well, I need to make 4 more of these things, so I have all the pieces laid out. So these pieces are all the same for each assembly. And I started getting all the other stuff laid out for the bases of the walls and stuff like that, which we'll get into later. But yeah, this is not a one-day deal. This is one person, probably a week to put this up. So these are all loose still. So those are all at the same stage. And then I will go through and put the rest of the pieces on there. Same way, standing upright, so I don't have to lay on the ground and whatever. So, and then there's this plate here It's like a tie. It ties the left and right together with 12 bolts. That's pretty easy though. And then you put a couple bolts in this guy. Still not 100% sure if that gets sandwiched between something or not, but those are just, everything's loose so far anyway, so it is no big deal. Okay, so we're on like the second day essentially of building, and that's all I got done. I got 3 trusses and the 2 end gable thingies. So done with step 2. Now on to step 3, which is putting the roof beams together. That should be pretty easy. The sign's not where they go. I've already laid out the floor frame assemblies, so I need to get my hammer drill out and drill some holes, put it into the concrete, get it all square. And then from there, it's building walls and lots more screws. Anyway, I think I get it now. Instructions are pretty terrible. They don't really tell you how to assemble anything. They just tell you kind of looks like this when you're done, and you're on your own, which isn't great. Okay, welcome back to the channel. A few days have passed here because I have to go to work and stuff, but got the dyno in the hole, all bolted down, so now I don't have to worry about trying to get that through a door that's not wide enough. And yeah, so now I also put my scaffolding together on wheels. I gotta put the corners of the building up first, and I want something for it to lean against, so I have one more scaffolding that I can also use, so I think that ought to be adequate. But it's pretty calm, so I don't think we're gonna have any wind to worry about. So yeah, 360, the Artman 360, except for Artman's not here. So I got all the base pieces laid out. So this particular model shed comes in like 12 feet, 12 by 10, 12 by 17, 12 by 24, 12 by 31. So this slab is 36 feet long. But what I did is I bought 2 12 by 24s because I want a garage door on both ends. And so the way this works is it has multiple bases. They're like 7 feet and 9.5 feet. So the only combination I can make work is so the shed is 33 feet long and then has a door on both ends. And then with the other pieces, I'll make just like a garden tool shed, and that'll be 12 by 14 or something like that, 12 by 15. So these instructions aren't quite what I'm doing because I never follow instructions. But I want a door on both ends so I can get some airflow through here. So anyway, I've laid all this out. It's supposed to have a piece going all the way across here, but I'm going to have these little guys on each end, because that's going to be the 10-foot garage door. So the next thing I'm going to do is there's some little pieces that bolt this together. So those are little screws and whatever. And then, yeah. Then I think the next thing the instructions say is to put the sides on, which I have those right there pre-selected. So there's like an L on this corner and an L on that corner. So I'm a little bit concerned that it's super calm today, but there's not much holding that little corner up. So I may have to makeshift something. Maybe use the scaffolding in each end or something to lash it to, zip tie it or something. And then you build the wall up from there. And then you put the siding on to make sure all the screws line up. And then once all that's done, then you anchor it. So it's going to be kind of freestanding for a little bit longer than I'd like, but I have the anchors ready and the hammer drill ready, so I don't like following directions anyway, so maybe I won't. Okay, so that's one side done. So now I just got to do the other side. This is actually going to be more like that. Let me figure out how I'm going to get this all perfect squirrel out, but the framing I did myself, so I know it's pretty good, within a 1/4 of an inch probably. So I think if I just get it close enough, once I get the walls up, that's gonna align everything. And then, so next thing I'm gonna do is the other half, which is gonna be the exact same. Here's this half. So this is what the next stage looks like. All the frames are in. And you have to prop it up to get that corner kind of self-standing. So there's like 4 screws in there, 4 screws in there. I have it propped up with this thing right now, but I don't think it really needs it because it's got a cross brace. It's got a bolt up there. This I think gets put in later when the structural beam goes across there. So yeah, just have to do 3 more of those and hope the wind doesn't pick up. Okay, so I got all the corners up. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all these are still loose. So I'm afraid none of this is going to line up unless I leave them loose. But yeah, really these, I think I'm going to put a beam up there just to hold these things, because there's nothing. This whole side is one not very held up thing. I got some 2x6s there holding it kind of from flipping one way, but it gets windy overnight. It's gonna be bad. So I think I'm gonna bolt on some stuff that doesn't belong there just for giggles. Okay, a little bit of progress. So every one of the trusses needs 2 of these truss supports, so I just went ahead and put all 6 of them together since it has 3 trusses. And it's kind of weird how this goes together, but there's a gap on one side and not a gap on the other. Not sure why. That's the way it is. I put a side panel on and made sure all the holes line up, and it looks like it's good. So I have scaffolding on, holding this up with some bungee cords. It says to use a step ladder, but I don't know how many people have 19 step ladders hanging around, so I have scaffolding, so that works. So my plan is, since I'm making this with a garage door on both ends, I have these. These are for the rear of the structure. So I just have those makeshift stuck in there just to keep those edge pieces kind of stable. I got some vice grip clamps on there to kind of keep it from flopping around much. And then my plan is just to build, to put 4 of these truss supports in, and then I'll put the trusses on top of them, and then I'll put the other 2 and put the truss on top of it, and I'll have a scaffolding to kind of stabilize it for each of them. So each of the scaffoldings will be you know, keep it from flopping this way and this way. And then I think it'll be good and secure. The wind does come up. It's pretty darn calm though. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but none of this is bolted to the ground, obviously. So one stiff breeze and it's gone. So yeah, I will put the camera up. It's really hard to see what I'm doing, so I want to stop every few hours or whenever I change what I'm doing. I will stop and explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Instructions on how to do that. Okay, so have all the corners up. And have all the frame, the truss braces, I guess they're called. So those guys sit on top of there. So I think I need to put the next row of the top row. To put that on next, and then I can get rid of these guys. Those are just on there to hold it together. I'm putting all the rest of the stuff on, and then I haven't put any of these guys in yet because I got this here. I can't put that on. So I'm gonna put that guy on first, all the way around, and then yeah, get in there. All right. So the next thing I have to put on is these angle. Side top angle. It took me a while to find these things because they're marked poorly. 7915. So there's long versions of these. And short versions of them. So these are the long. Suppose it does something like that. Not real sure. Okay, had a bit of a weather system come through over the weekend, but put a few tarps up. Everything's kind of wet, but not a big deal. Box has got a little wet. But today we're going to try and finish up all putting siding on and get those things placed in position up yonder, and then all there will be left is putting the roof on and the massive pain in the ass door. I think. I'm expecting it to be a massive pain in the ass, but we'll see. So, I guess I'm about a quarter of the way done. Almost. And it's just going fairly smoothly. I got all the holes lined up so far. Not sure what I'm supposed to do here. Got a big hole, so I have a feeling I gotta put a nut on the other side. And these spots. And then this one here where the post is, there's a little hole in the post up there. But the screw's not long enough, so I may just get some longer screws and the spacer. So this is attached to the post later. But I can all fix that all in post. Yeah, so I'm just going to finish the rest of these guys up, which will be boring to watch even in super slow-mo, super fast-mo. And then we'll start getting the trusses on. Okay, so this whole side is done. Got all the bolts in. Some of them you gotta jiggle and jaggle around a little bit and whatever, but they all went in. Took about 2.5 hours doing this by myself, and probably could do it faster if I wasn't working in a pile of redwood fluff. But yeah, it's surprising, I guess, that all the holes lined up, but everything's loose, just like you know, it says in the instructions. One thing that I did listen to. And then once I get all the trusses and everything in and the roof on it, then I'll go back around and strategically tighten things. And I think I'll take some pictures of the individual pieces. So a lot of the time I spent building this thing is trying to find which fucking parts go where and which boxes they're in, and there's no pictures of what they look like. So anyway, I may do that for you. Okay, it's a lovely new day. No rain. All the walls were put up a few days ago. And that's all done. Now I gotta put these guys, pre-built these a week ago or so. So now I gotta wrestle these in place. Mind you, I'm doing this all by myself, so probably would be helpful if you had somebody to help, but yeah, I think it could be done. Those are pretty light. I got scaffolding. I will wrestle them into place. See how it goes. So I just came up to move the camera, but apparently I forgot to turn the camera on to put the first two trusses on, but it went pretty easy. I just, they're pretty light. Just hoisted them up, laid them down on the 2x6s, went up on one side, tipped it up, put a couple screws in, went to the other side, put the other screws in. Easy peasy. I'll do the third one in the same way, and hopefully I'll remember to push the go button. But it's a little bit tippy this way, so I think I'm going to prop some sticks or something up to, so I don't get more weight on the top and then the whole thing just falls into the ravine. I think we're okay though. Okay. So all three trusses are up. Took about, I don't know, 45 minutes. It would be probably 20 minutes if you had dos manos. Oh, I need 2 hands. I have 2 hands. Cuatro manos. So now I'm going to put the braces in between each of these. So that'll give it a bit of structure this way. And then I gotta get those guys on the ends, which are really floppy. So should be fun. But I have Mr. Scaffolding here, so it should be okay. Okay, so this is what I've come up with. Ratchet strapped, I think I could ratchet strap that better. Let me fix that a little bit. So now I can get that guy bolted on that side while it's sitting on top. And then when I hoist that up in place, I can just let it lean on that. Maybe put a bungee around it or something. So, yeah, workable tool. Alright, so got that header on there. And all these roof braces. I just need to do boop, boop, boop. 3 more of them. Piece of cake. Trusses are all in. Just have to put the guyvery thing on the end there. And then I need my friend. And then we'll put the rest of these, the long versions, over here. And then we'll square it up. And then we'll start putting the sheeting on. And then tighten 1,000. None of these bolts are tight. They're all just. So I'll get it all squared up. Get the roof panels on, and then go back and tighten every one of those fuckers. It's a lot. I think I'm gonna have to make a fancy tool for that, but that's how I do it. Some of those are gonna be fun to get in. Okay, so all the roof braces are in now. So now I have to put these door Chicaderas in 10,460, 10,461. And then I can measure the distance between inside and inside and drill some holes and lock this thing to the ground. It says to only lock it like on each side of the garage door. There's no place else in the instructions says to bolt it down, but I'm gonna put some all along here. So sometimes you just gotta ignore. Alright. Apparently somebody crashed again. So another lovely day here in Arkansas, as far as you know. So kind of started figuring out where all the pieces are to put the roof on. So one of the pet peeves I have of this this kit, well, maybe it's just an observation, is You need to take everything out of every box to figure out where the next part is. They're not like, oh, the next piece I have to put on is right here on the top of the box. No. You take every fucking thing out 15 goddamn times. You lay it across your lawn. Yeah, it sucks. So anyway, I did that last night after I was kind of having too much fun putting all these in. So I think I have everything taken out of the boxes and put back where I need them, so I don't have to search. So anyway, that piece goes there. That piece goes up there. I did kind of set it on there, and the bolts kind of line up, so that's good. There's a little bit of weirdness in this corner. Zoom in on that, which I'm pretty sure I put it together properly, but like that's the only place that hole can line up. But as you can see, that's not going to work. There's a little bit of a gap here. So, and this part sticks out a little bit from, but over here not so much. So I think I'm going to have to get a paper punch out or a drill or something and move this guy out to here. So it's less obviously screwed up on this side, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have the same problem once I get that panel in there. But yeah, that's it. We'll see if we can't. Maybe I'll stick the camera up on top of the skid steer on a tripod and get a good view of this. We'll see how that works. Okay, so far the most frustrating part about this is pretty high standard. I put those two on, and yeah, there's a little bit of prying and jiggling and juggling around. I didn't really do it the way they said in the instructions, so on this one I thought, well, let's try the way they said to do it, and it doesn't work at all. Now I'm not sure if that's their method, but their method was to put all these outside screws in first, starting at the top. That one, then that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And then start at the top and put those in, and then those in, and then those in, and then those in. Well, when I got to these guys, they were off by a fucking inch. So that didn't work at all. What I did over there was I put these guys in first, and then these guys, and then these guys, and then these guys, and then I put all those in. And those last ones took a lot of prying, but I got it in. And this one, yeah, it was off like an inch. Made it a little bit better by taking the screws out of here. Pretty sure they're supposed to be in there, but as you can see, those don't even line up anymore. So, yeah, pretty sure this has got to be square, or else it's going to be a problem forever, right? So, not sure how to fix it yet, but I will come up with something and let you know. Okay, so day 86 of this shed. Not really. We started on this morning at 9 o'clock. And this is how far I got. Either I'm really slow, or this is a giant pain in the ass. Every one of these fucking screws doesn't, well, not everyone, but the majority of them don't want to line up. So I think I figured out the ideal process, which is very not ideal. So you throw this guy up here, and you put this guy in first, And then you kind of see which ones line up, get those in, and then jiggle jaggle, wiggle waggle, inside out, get all this stuff. All this stuff's loose, so we should be able to move around. And then once you get those all not tight, they're just in kind of as placeholders, then you got to get these guys, which of course those don't line up either. So you got to manhandle those, and then you need a second person in there, because even if you can get it in and get the nut on, which you can't, it just spins the nuts. You have to have somebody hold the wrench on the inside. There's 4 of those on each section. Well, each 2 sections. There's one there, and there's each in the middle, and one there. Not exactly sure how this crown is going to work, because I need like 5 of them. And those have to go in there as well, and then the second piece. So there's that piece that bolts to the end, and there. And then they bolt together here. But if I have a 10-foot section of that, then I just bend it out of the way to get these in. I'm not sure. Seems very clusterfuck-like. I'm not impressed. So, yeah, we'll figure that out a different day. But
Vinny, I thought you were dead.
oh, I'm done. Okay, so here we are. Trying to science out how to put these ridge caps on. So apparently, see down there, there's a short one, which is only fastened right there, which is easy, right? And then you just like kind of bend that up out of the way to get all these other ones on, kind of like this. Acts like a hinge. And then, while after I put this on, I can reach this. Unfortunately, there's a truss underneath this, so there's no way to get a nut on the bottom side. See there? It's like, yeah, there's no fucking way to get that in there. So, I'm gonna drill a hole through that brace right there, up inside, so I have access to get the nut installed and hold on to it while I tighten it. So pretty good engineering. Really, really good engineering. No, not good. Anyway, it does seem to be took me quite a long time to get the first panels on. The more you put on though, the straighter everything gets, and everything's loose, so it jiggles around a bit. But the more these get on, the straighter it gets, and then they get easier. Hopefully when we get to the end it won't be a disaster, but it remains to be seen. So I'm going to do some drilling. Okay, so it's a few days later. All the roof panels are on, with the exception of the last on the end there. I'm gonna get everything bolted to the floor first, so I've already got everything square and level, and got it bolted down. This whole way is bolted down here, most of the way. So I'm using a 2x6 to keep everything straight. Just clamping it to the beam on the bottom, and then I'm going to measure each location for the tie downs, which I tried to kind of equally space where there was already holes. And I'm also tying it down where the structure that goes to the trusses is. So overall, I would have to not recommend this kit because it has a bazillion screws, and yeah, it wears out your fingers. I've tried to do this all with one person, but I gave up a little bit because these bolts here, you gotta tighten those up, and sometimes when you tighten them from the outside, the inside just spins, so you have to have somebody hold the wrench. And there's 4 of them per section of roof. There's more up there and there. So every half hour, 45 minutes, I'd have to text my wife to come out and hold the wrench, tighten those up, and then go to the next section. So each one of these sections, I'm pretty sure, is designed, like the width of this is like 2.5 feet. It's designed so you can reach, right? But it takes about a half an hour to 45 minutes to put 2 sides on. Like you put that side on first, and then get it kind of loose, put all the screws in, and then you put this side in, get it loose, all the screws in, and then I tighten these guys up, and the middle one's up, and then you go back and tighten all the little wood screws up, and then you got to do the seam on the top. You got to put like aluminum foil tape on the top, and by the time you do all that, it's about a half an hour, 45 minutes if everything goes well. And then you got to trudge down the your step ladder, or in this case I used my scaffolding. But either way, this is what 28. There's I think 14 sections, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so there's 5 there, 5 there, 4 there, 4 there. So 28 sections. So that's like 14 hours just putting the roof panels on. These ones, these outer panels aren't fast either, right? There's just as many of them. I have a feeling that's about a half an hour as well. Maybe a little less because you don't have to do the little screw things. But there are some things that I don't really think is great, so I'm gonna fix it. But there's really nothing holding this part to the floor, right? There's little holes there, but there's no holes in this piece. So I'm gonna put some real screws in there to tie this to this. I think those little wood screws are inadequate, so I'm gonna put like a real bolt and nut on there. But yeah, nothing's tight yet. Everything is still just jiggly loose. The other thing that is not great, and I'm pretty short, so it's not a big deal, but a buddy of mine came over here, and he's like 6'2", and his head like rubs on the top of this. So if you were in a stride, you could impale yourself on that guy right there. That would be bad. So I'm probably gonna bend these over. So especially this guy here, that's probably not great. These ones are a little bit rounded, but yeah. So anyway, I got some tidying up to do. I still have a zillion extra pieces, but this is a lot of garage door stuff. And also I bought 2 24-foot garages, and because I wanted a door on both ends, which is nice. And so the other one, I'm just gonna put that together as like I think it's gonna end up being a 12 by 15, just for like storing wheelbarrows and garden rakes and cement mixers and shit like that. So that's why I got all these pieces left over. A lot of this is garage door, so I still haven't done that. So I'm like a week and a half into this build. A couple of days were a little bit truncated by some inclement weather. But yeah, if you're going to build this by yourself, it's going to take you a lot of weekends in a row if you just do it on the weekends. Okay, so I have all this side tied down with anchors. And then every time I get to a tie down point, I make sure it's the same width, which happens to be 138.5 inches. So some of these are kind of flexied out a little bit, and they're not touching the ground evenly everywhere. So I just put a ratchet strap across here, and then I can pull it into place and drill a hole, put the anchor in. So. Okay, so it's been raining last few days. So, of course, with 5,687 screws in the roof, some of them are bound to leak. So I went through and marked everywhere it's leaking. I don't know if you can see that. I marked it with a red pen. There's probably, I don't know, 20 places that it's leaking. Some of them are a little, some of them are more. So now that it's not raining, I'm going to go back and some of them I probably forgot to tighten up, but I think that's minimal. But I'm going to just put some RTV on the outside. And then the next time it rains, I'll do the same thing. And probably after 2 or 3 of those cycles, we'll have no leaks. I did get the first garage door built. I need to put the springs on still. So it was just about as terrible as the rest of the instructions, but I will go through when I put in the second one together. I'll go through and explain how all that works. It's really not that complicated. It's just the instructions suck ass. There's fasteners that are missing, right? So, and then the other thing that I'm doing is all these bolts were left loose, so I got to go back and tighten everything up. Handy dandy tip: those 3/8 square nuts that hold the entire thing together. Those little guys. Trying to get a wrench on that is terrible. So what I did, I was going to make something, and then I went, oh look, 3/8 hex drive. Fits right into that. And I just got an Allen. Throw that in my chuck. Viola. Instant tool to tighten those up. So I can just dug all those. Sometimes you have to hold the hex or the Phillips on one side. Sometimes not. And you just go through. You see some of these still aren't tight. I've gone through and tightened most of them, and like you can see the ones I tightened, I put a paint mark on so I can tell. Yeah, those ones I haven't tightened yet. No paint mark. So that's a whole bunch of effort. None of this stuff's tight yet. This is all just still loose. So I have to go through and do all that. But the instructions say, not that I believe them, but the instructions say don't tighten anything up till it's all aligned. Not sure I agree with that 100%, but to some extent, yeah, that makes some sense. So, but it's pretty sturdy now. It's not going anywhere. It's bolted to the ground everywhere. And then I just have to put the second garage door on, tighten every bolt up, and then there's a bunch of trim on the outside that I haven't put on yet, but that's cosmetic mostly, and it might help some leaks too. So we'll get to it here. Okay, so let's put some garage doors together. Okay, we're starting out with the lower door. Taillight has a seal on it. And all the little pieces of rocks and mud. Alright. And we have our box of pieces parts here. So, for the first door, we're going to need some hinges. And these are labeled 1, 2, and 3. Unfortunately, the labeling scheme is kind of dumb. So, we'll lay these all out. These 4 are 1s. 3. It's a 3. Okay, so I got 5 1s, but as you can see, they're not exactly the same. See, this one's got a big one and this one's got a little one. Ignore that, they're the same. So, first door gets a 1 at each end and in the middle. The second door gets a 2 on each end and a 1 in the middle, and the third door gets a 3 on end and 1 in the middle. That would have been all they needed for their instructions. But they're so convoluted, it didn't work like that. Set these over for later fun. And then we're going to need a sack of screws. So I've already put one door together. I'd like to say I had enough pieces, but I didn't. I had to beg and borrow from the second door. I have enough for the first door. Let's not get bogged down on that too much. I highly recommend one of these guys. Doesn't say you need one, but it does make it a lot easier. 7/16 driver on there. And there's bags of screws here and there. Let's just dump these out into this hole. So there's a couple of different kinds of screws you got here. So we got this screw here, which is what's used in these doors, which is like a wood screw. And then we got these guys here, which have like a serration on them, so you don't have to hold the other end of it, which is nice. And then these are self-tapping. So anyway, keep that in mind for later fun. The way this thing goes together, I put this guy in low gear because it takes quite a bit of torque to get these in. Up there. It's actually manufacturing its threads, so it takes quite a bit of torque. And then I put it in high gear, doesn't have as much torque. And that makes them semi-tight. You're probably going to have to re-loosen those anyway when you put the door on to make the hinges all parallel, but this is a pretty good starting point. Back in low gear. I'll zoom in on these a little later so you can see which holes I'm using, because it's not super clear. But the pivot point needs to be at the top edge for obvious reasons. You don't see hinges in the middle of the door too often. Not working doors anyway. I'm not sure what the logic is to have 5,000 holes in here, but it's what they did, so. Just as I say that, I use the wrong holes. Only about 3/4 of an inch off. It's pretty obvious that I screwed it up, so. Okay, so door number 1. Just like on The Price is Right. That's everything on this door, except for the guys that go down here. Not these guys. These go on the 4th door. Yeah, these guys. So this is where the cable attaches to. So that goes there. There's a mirror image of it. Goes on that side. And there's a special stack of bolts that are red. So it's super obvious. Actually, it does say this in the instructions. The red ones go down here. And the last bag of them, there's supposed to be 8, and there was 9 in there, so there's nothing like having extra parts and wondering why. Yeah, this one has 11, because, you know, let's give the people extra parts so they're confused. I don't know. Logic. Okay, and this one, it kind of covers up the label, but I peeled off the label on the last one, but I'm not going to do it on this one because nobody's going to read those labels anyway. These are self-tapping screws, so it doesn't take quite as much effort, but I'm still doing a low gear, high gear deal. And my battery just packed it in. Nice. We'll go charge this battery up and come back. Okay, couple wheels. And now we gotta put the little plate thingy. This is so you can step on it and make sure it makes the catches catch. Same deal, no gear. There you have it. There's number one. Not the easiest, not the hardest. Set this off to the side and all the rest of these panels are identical, so you don't really need to worry about figuring that out. So very similar to panel number one, except for you put number two hinges on the ends, number one in the middle, and then we got some holes to drill in this thing for the latch and all that junk. So yeah, we got these little guys to put on here. I got there. Nothing too challenging. You're gonna need to drill some holes because the outside painted material doesn't have holes in it. I don't know why. I think they have the technology to drill some holes, but they don't. They have technology. They just choose not to make you do it. Free labor. And this goes on like this. So the hinge is, the wheel goes here, but the hinge goes here. So the hinge still has to be at the top. And again, there's a million holes. Doesn't really say which one to line up. And these don't really line up very good, honestly. It says in the instructions to put it through the slotted hole, but there's no access to the slotted hole. And these two holes kind of line up, so not perfectly, but good enough. We'll put these catches on next. Already over there. Again, not obvious where it goes. There's adjustments on the other end of this. This one has like a hole on one side and a slot on the other. But on the door, in the door track, it has like 1.5 inches of travel, so you don't really have to worry too much about how these are lined up because there's an adjustment elsewhere. Please keep in mind that I've done this before on the first door that I did, so all the sciencing out. I've already spent my effort trying to figure out where we went. That was yesterday, so pretty fresh in my mind. And I have all the tools here. Alright, so let's get the handle junk out. Handle on the inside. got these super fancy spacers that I don't really get, but whatever. I think it's just to keep this thing from oil canning. All that, and then let's see. Just there. Okay, so when you're emptying the bag, careful. This one here, it's sealed itself into the bag, so it looks like the bag's empty, but it's not. And that's the part that you need. This stuff's a little bit wet. So the way this goes together is you have to drill 3 holes in here. And then this thing comes in from the bottom side. And then these things sit in here to take up the space because these aren't as long as this distance. So those are just fucking shitty spacers. And then this washer goes here. And this piece with the little bumps out goes on top of it, like that. And then you put the screws in, which are like 1024s. Pretty long. These guys go through there like that. And then what you'll have is this hex thing sticking out. And then you put this thing on. And then this little washer holds it on so it doesn't jiggle around. So that's the puzzle pieces. That's how they go. Not sure exactly why they did it like that, but I'm not going to argue with them. That's the way they did it. So, for this we're going to need a drill. And drilling sheet metal holes with a regular drill doesn't work, so I got this. It's for drilling holes in sheet metal. So, makes the holes not triangular. So, this happens to have just over a 1/2 inch hole in it, which is nice because this is 1/2 inch. So as long as I line this up somewhat straight, side down, it looks pretty good. Okay, so that's pretty close to the center. This instructions comes with a little template to put on the other side. Unfortunately, the instructions say to use a 3/4 inch hole, and this one says to use a 7/16 hole, which are different. So I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to trust. What I did on the last one that seemed to work is drill a 1/2 inch hole in the center and 7/16 hole on the outside, so this one doesn't fall through. So, make sure it's right. That's what I did. I do a lot of stuff that's not right. It seems to work out usually. So instead of using the template, I use my handy dandy marker. And this piece right here is a pretty good template because that's what's actually going through there. So if I just line that perpendicular, mark those. Now I can drill this one out to a 1/2 inch. then since this is corrugated and there's no guide, it's really hard to get that sheet metal drill to start the hole in the right spot. So I'm using this little drill. It seems to follow better. You can steer it anyway. There. And now that that's in there, switch back to the step drill and make these 7/16. Zoom in on that so you can see what crappiness it looks like. And then this goes like that. So that's what it looks like. Okay. Now we can put this guy in. Key out of there before it gets broken. Okay, so this is where these guys come in. Jam those somehow in there. Do as I do, not as I say. Don't let that hit the floor. Okay. So that's the next puzzle piece. That little washer. Little puzzle piece. And these two little screws. There's probably a screwdriver around here somewhere. Right there. Okay, and then the handle. I made the handle stick to the left on the other side, so I'll make it do the same. This is like a clip to hold your wagon wheel on, kind of. So I just line the hexes up on that, actually it's a square. Alright. So that's number 2. Alright, so same as before, different. The 3s go on the outside, 1 goes in the middle. Okay, so there's number 3. Set this off to the side again. Number 4, you don't really need to do anything to. So now we're going to play with the frames, the tracks. So these are bound together with a pretty serious metal strap, like a pallet strap. Not sure how you're supposed to get this apart. It's pretty tight. Using a screwdriver. Well, I was going to pry it up so I could get the snips under there, but it's under quite a lot of tension. Yeah, like that. There you have it. So we just need these guys for now. We'll need these guys later, so set them over here on my sawhorses. Okay, so these are the puzzle pieces that you're going to be needing. So there's a 5.5 which goes on the bottom, 6.5 which goes in the middle, and then these go at the top. These are omnidirectional, so you don't have to worry which is up and which is down. Unfortunately, the one marked left is the left from the inside, and the one marked right is right from the inside. Let me go verify that on this door, but I'm pretty sure that's correct, which is not how I would have labeled them. Yes. So viewed from the inside, the one with an R on it is the right side. So completely fucking stupid. But that's the way they did it. So I put it together the wrong way just once. And then I went, these guys are out of their fucking minds, and then I fixed it. So you don't have to. I'm feeling these guys would sell a lot more kits if you fix their instructions. And I've had some thoughts about that, like me explaining to people how to do this. Is that helping them make a shitty product and not have instructions for it? Am I helping them by doing that? Or, yeah. Anyway, this guy, I think, yeah. So it uses these, and these need to be on the inside of the rails, otherwise it gets stuck. Trying to get a rounded head on the inside, and that is required, otherwise it'll get caught on it. So maybe that's why people use them. It's not. So the first one I put together, I didn't do like this. I pre-assembled this whole thing like it says in the instructions. That's fucking stupid. I'm not gonna do that again. Because it's fucking stupid. It also gives you a measurement for where this thing goes, but it's pretty obvious where it goes because there's only one hole on the outside to line up with it. Instead of measuring 31 inches or whatever the fuck it was, just line up the hole that exists. Not like there's twice as many as you need. So this is a 6.5. It's slightly longer, like maybe a centimeter. So make sure you put the 6.5 at the middle, 6.5 at the bottom. The reason for that is you want these rails to, you got a slight angle to this, which is horizontal, and that way when the door closes it like sucks in and makes a seal. Somewhat of a seal. A leaky seal. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be short of these bolts. What are you going to do? So this is a slot and a slot, so you can adjust up, down, and left, right. So this one you don't really have a height adjustment. You have an in and out, and this one you have both. Probably required for most builds. So there, that's kind of how that works. Can repeat that on the other side. Obviously, the light's gonna suck over there, so I'm not gonna video it, but anyway, that's how that guy goes. There's the right, which is on the right side from the inside. And that's how it is. So 6.5 up here. Can't see it. 5.5 down there. So these guys go in next. Little hanger things. And they go here. The end of the track goes here, and then this little hole is for the spring. So unfortunately they didn't give me bolts to hold those on with, so got some nuts and bolts from my bins in the top, and we'll use those. Again, this doesn't, the instructions don't tell you where to put these, but I originally estimated it would go here because that's about the height of the door, but the track is like 1.5 feet longer than the height of the door because, you know, why not? Apparently they make 2 height doors and they don't want to make 2 tracks. I don't know, but that's the way it is. So. Good enough. And then the other one goes on the other side, which I'll put on when I put the other side on. Don't need to see all of it. There's tape just let loose. It's okay, we fix. So this guy goes like, oh, it's kind of weird. It's sandwiched on one side and not the other. I'm just going to set this in here. I'm going to go get a clamp to hold it in. It doesn't fall on my head. I'm all about stuff not landing on my head. Something like that. And then we'll put some screws back yonder. Again, they didn't give me any, so it actually says to use 3/8 bolts in here, but yeah, that's not going to work because I'm really tired of fixing this. Fix it. Yeah, it says to use 3/8 bolts in here, but not only do they not supply any, and even more troubling, the holes aren't big enough, so I'd have to drill the holes out. So I'm going to use these 6mm because that's the kind of guy I am. Okay. Now it does say to use 3/8 bolts. Here, which I will do. A couple reasons. The holes are designed for it, and they actually gave them to me. 2 features I like. So that's carriage bolt with a 9/16 hex on the other end. I just kind of line the inside of this up. I don't really care about the outside, as long as the inside's lined up. Roller rolls on that good. And then these I'm using a couple of these serrated bolts on the inside. Like I said, I didn't have enough of these things, so I replaced some of the serrated bolts that went here with some hardware that was in my shop. I won't tell them, it'll be okay. Again, these things are just kind of loosey in place. Close up of that so you can see what I did, because I'm not going to film the other side. So, yep. Carriage bolt. Now the next thing I'm going to do is put the pulley in here. Doesn't say which hole to put it in. I think I put it in this one. But that one doesn't have a carriage bolt, so that's neat. Good. Would have been smart. And then back here, close up to that guy. So anyway, yeah, that's I'll do the other side. It's kind of dark over there, but so it won't film well. Again, this is where the spring hooks in, and then this pulley goes right there. So I guess it goes in this third hole, and then the cable goes around that and down to the bottom latch. There you go. I will have to tighten all these screws up still. Like, still nothing's tight. That'll be fun. Lots of paint marker on all those to make sure I got them all. Okay, so putting the lower panel in. I didn't do it the same way as the other side. I put these upper guides in first. If you put those in, it's a big pain in the ass because you gotta walk around the building 1,500 times. So, pretty sure I can get it in like this, but we'll find out together. So I took the little wheelies off, and you can slide these wheels in just like that. No big deal. So that one's at the bottom already. That one's in. Now if I just tilt this off to the side a little bit. The only reason this is possible is because this has two guides for it. It's not a solid guide, so you can get it in one a little way. There you have it. So, the other ones, pretty sure I can slide in from the end and have the same effect. So that's what I'm gonna do. Alright. Not sure that was easier or harder, but it can be done either way with one person. So again, we take these wood screwy things and line these guys up. Okay, so instructions say stick the last one on and have a guy hold it here, which I did with a strap on that side, but it wasn't really going to go anywhere, so I think I might just ignore that. Alright, now we have a door. It'll kind of lift up. Yeah, nothing's tight or aligned. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time tightening everything up, lining everything, and then the next step is to pick it up, put some clamps to hold it from falling down, and then getting all the springs hooked up and cables and stuff like that. Which sounds terrible, but it's not bad. Once you figure it out, it's not terrible. Okay, so I loosened all the hinges up and retightened them and kind of got a perfect square out. It's pretty good, I think. It's probably going to need, I think some of this is a little bit not perfectly even, but whatever, that's how it works. It's going to get run into, so now I'm going to grab my vice grips. And this says to have at least 2 or more people to lift this up, but I had a friend of mine help me with the first one, but I don't think you really need 2 people. So this is either an OSHA video of what not to do, or it's going to go perfectly smoothly. I don't know which. I'm going to put that right there so I have it. Got screwed up. I don't have the wheelies in here. Pretty sure it needs those 2 wheelies. Here's one of them. Okay. This should be an exercise in fun. First of all, where's my wheelie? Second of all, how did I manage to put that together without it? So, this sounds like a big challenge here, but it's not all I'm going to do. I'm just going to pop these 4 bolts off, slide it in, put both the hinge back on. No big deal. Alright, so that problem solved. Go back to what not to do with OSHA. get these guys. Alright, this should go smoother. Piece of cake. Not even falling down. It's not even touching the vice grip, so I mean, I wouldn't try without the vice grips, but there we go. So the next thing we have to do is put the springs together, which is a pretty mundane task. Hook the spring there, and then there's a little chingadera over here that the spring loop, the cable loops around, and then it goes around this pulley, and then over to there. It's pretty simple, actually. Not a lot of weight in these doors, so the springs are pretty light. But we'll go through every little bit of it. Okay, so I rounded up all the pieces. Well, it's not true because I'm missing some, but we can science that out. So basically, this S hook over here loops around those brackets there, and then these little shackles go around through there, and then the pulley goes in, and the nut on the other side. That. Now there are two cables. There's a thick cable and a thin cable. The thick cable is what actually does the lifting. The thin cable just goes in between the spring, and it's just in case the spring explodes, it doesn't like fly and hit somebody. So that's just a safety cable, what they call it, and I agree, that's what it is. But then on the other end, there needs to be another S hook. So this cable starts at the bottom of the door, and then it loops through this pulley, and then it comes back and it ties into the frame up there with this little kind of, you can basically tie a little knot in that, and that keeps it from going anywhere. But then you have to attach this to something. So it says to use S hooks. I used S hooks on the first one, but this one's only got 2 S hooks, so I need those 2 for there. So I'm going to have to put a bolt through it or something. Something different on this side. So not the end of the world, but yeah, missing some pieces as expected, I suppose. It also says to put the safety cable through first, but it just kind of gets in your way. So I did that the first time and it fell out, and it's super easy to thread it back through. So I'm just going to put that in last. These are the safety cables in here. Not sure what these wood screws and this L brackets are for. Extra parts just for you to question. So, yeah. Tighten this bolts up and get this thing together. Okay, so things first. Snake this cable around. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. And hook this around this little hole in the bracket. Got there. Again, this goes through here. Rest that up a little bit. And then this guy Let's do this here. So you loop it through the first one, and then loop it through the second one. But before you pull that tight, loop this back through here. So basically you're tying a knot, except for if you pull this loop too small, too soon, and you can't get this one through it. So be cognizant of that, because it's a pain in the ass to get back apart. It's always fun tying knots and cables. So I think that needs to be a little bit tighter than that based on the other end. This cable's about 3 feet longer than need be. I mentioned this is a bit of a fuster cluck. It is. There. Pull that tight. So it should look like that-ish. So this one I don't have an S-hook for. Well, I kind of do, but I'm going to use this side S-hook. Just to show how not difficult it is. So you can see I'm about 2 feet here from where I'm going to hook it. It's pretty easy to stretch that. It's only stretching this 1 foot. So that's what it looks like. However, I can't do this because I don't have enough X-hooks, so I'm going to have to jam a bolt through there. Which of course, I don't have because they didn't give me one. But I have a shop, so I'll go grab a bolt and then yada yada yada. So. Okay, so this is the safety cable. It's smaller. Let's put it up against it's a smaller diameter. If that'll focus. So, it's really not hard to fish it through here. So here's the pulley. This would be easier if I wasn't holding the camera, but and it pops out the other end here. Again, holding a camera. Kind of need both hands to do it. I'm going to leave this up yonder. And use both of my hands. And then this one, you just tie it to this. Same way, same kind of knotting mechanism. You loop it in, loop it under. Make like a granny knot in there, and viola. So you can see the cables going around the S-hook as well. And then it's just tied there. Like I said, no load on it. These are gonna have to get trimmed, right? They're too long. I'm not gonna let these just hang out here. But yeah, I'll put the other safety on, and then this should be a functioning door. So last thing we need to do is put these little guys on. These are the latches. So here. Of course, again, I don't have any bolts because I ran out. And then the other thing that has to happen is this little cable needs to get routed from here through both of these holes on the bottom, through here, back through the 2 holes on the top, and then through this hole, and then tie a knot in it. It was supposed to come with a bolt with a hole drilled in the center of it, but don't have those. Okay, so most recent rain we had, I noticed there was a few leaks, probably like 10, 12 places, whatever. So that's what I did. The screws look like they're tight and in all the way, but whatever, I can argue. So there's some that are up there. So I just got a ladder, got a tube of RTV, put them here and there. Try and make it sealed up, and then next time it rains, we'll check it again and do it again. Okay, so this is kind of a wrap-up video. Not quite done yet. I still gotta make those 3-foot ends on the cables fixed. I kind of use my fancy leaf blower, blow all the garbage out of here. So it's a nice area, as long as you're short. These are all the pieces I have left over because, again, I ordered two 24-foot sheds so I could have a wall on each end, a door on each end. So just before I sign off and wish you good luck, I'm just going to go over a little bit of the tools I used. So obviously you don't need the tripod if you're not filming it, but I used the shop vac hammer drill to drill the holes for the mounting for the anchors, and then to blow the dust out of the holes I used an air compressor. This is a super important tool. Don't forget that one. Like a bucket belt at Harbor Freight. I used a bunch of clamps to hold the 2x6s. This tape's kind of shitty that they give you, so I used something I had that's wider, works a little bit better. And then you're going to need a couple of tape measures, a long one for diagonal and a normal one for the width. Some locking pliers, obviously. You need a couple of boxes of anchors. I think I used 30 anchors. The boxes of 25, so I need 2 of those. You never know what you need those for. One of the things you probably don't need is that, but these magnetic trays are really nice. So they stick to the roof and keep your screws from rolling down the hill. A couple of cordless drivers, some tin snips, and then various size wrenches for tightening up the bolts and sockets and stuff like that. Also, you're going to need some Phillips head tips, and you're going to need some drills. This drill I used for the door latch thingy, and then the holes that didn't line up on the roof, I just couldn't manhandle into place. I just drilled new holes. That's an 80 thousandths drill. Worked really good. And then the holes in the base are like 1/4 of an inch, but the anchors are 1/4 of an inch, so the little expanding piece on the anchor is wider than that, so you have to open those holes up. I think this is like, I don't know, 3/16 of it, or 5/16 of an inch. Just open it up so when you put the anchor in, it works. And then opening it up holes, and you do those guys. And then a hammer to drive the lugs in. Also, a straight edge is nice. And also I used a square to get the corners. So maybe not 100% necessary, and then I used my level to make sure everything was square. So that's about all the tools I used. These are all the extra parts I have. I haven't put any like sliding doors on, so maybe those go to the sliding door. I can't imagine that rope does. But if you can't reach this, you're pretty short. So I don't know what the hell that's for. I think they make bigger doors, and that's so you could reach it, maybe. So, also super helpful step ladder and a taller step ladder. And if you don't want it to leak, some of this stuff, I don't care what color. And then you have a workplace. I just got some sawhorses, draped some towels over them so I didn't scratch up the paint on the outside of the doors. And that's about it. Highly don't recommend this unless you're really bored. You got a lot of time on your hands. Need to get away from your wife. One of those reasons would work. Thanks for watching. If you like this content and want more, subscribe, like, and share.